Hello everyone, my name is Kyle, and for today I decided to come up with a $900 AMD Ryzen PC build after the recent launch of their new CPU lineup that will not only be good for high-end gaming but will also be good for multi-core workloads and memory-intensive applications. If you guys are interested in building this PC, I have all the links down in the description below, and if you guys are planning to build this PC, be sure to leave a shout out for me and maybe I can comment you guys on a future upload. To start the build off, this system will be using an AMD Ryzen 5 1400X processor. When the CPU releases later this spring, it will feature 4 cores and 8 threads clocked at 3.4 GHz, and given that there is an X at the end of the part number, this processor has extended overclocking capabilities than a non-X Ryzen chip, meaning that if you were to pair this CPU with a good overclocking motherboard, it has a fairly good potential to reach 3.8, 4.0, and possibly 4.2 GHz if you're really lucky. Acknowledging that IPC performance has increased to a mere 52% over the older FX lineup, it places the CPU about par to Intel's Skylake variants. Given that the CPU will be priced around $200, this will be one heck of a processor for gaming, multitasking, and entry-level creative rendering. For the graphics card, the Ryzen chip will be accompanied by the MSI Gaming X RX 480. Proven by numerous sources on the interweb, including myself, the RX 480 is exceptionally capable to deliver a dead solid 60 frames per second in 1080p, 1440p with ultra settings on most modern gaming titles. With 8GB of GDDR4 VRAM, this is plenty for the GPU to render high textures and also has enough horsepower to render esports titles on 4K displays, costing the end user only $250 while performing just like a GTX 1060. This graphics card is an excellent choice for playing a wide variety of games for the next couple of years. Since RAM has driven to a new standard nowadays, I decided to increase the typical memory requirements and went for Corsair's Vengeance 8GB DDR4 RAM, costing only $120 for a kit of 2 sticks. Since a lot of gaming PCs are starting to reach their 8GB barrier, adding another 8 will not only reduces the chances of running into memory problems, but will also add extra headroom for memory-intensive applications to use. For storage, Seagate's 2TB Firecuda SSHD is a great choice to satisfy the realms of storage capacity and speed. With that much space, the end user has plenty of room to store games and personal data, and thanks to an intelligent cache controller, the user will experience enhanced performance on system boot times and frequently used applications. For $105, this is a much simpler approach compared to a separate SSD and HDD, and it uses less space in the case to let the user add more drives in the future. To connect all the components together, I went for MSI's B350i Gaming Pro motherboard, and for an $80 bargain, it packs a whole bunch of features that are normally found on Intel's Z170 platform. To begin with, not a lot of LGLM51 motherboards support CPU overclocking, but thanks to AMD's new chipset, this motherboard will allow anyone to supercharge any Ryzen CPU to gain extra lead performance that shouldn't have to cost so much to get in the first place. With typical USB 2.0 and 3.0 connections found on most motherboards, there are plenty of SATA ports supporting numerous hard drive and solid state configurations, along with the implementation of RAID 0, 1, and 10. For those who want to levitate storage to a whole new dimension, the M.2 slot exceeds 3rd generation SATA bandwidth of 6 GB per second that will drastically decrease boot times and waiting for the most impatient people in the world. Last and foremost, this motherboard supports up to 32 GB of DDR4 RAM. This will not only future-proof this system, but will also ensure that it can be used for as long as possible due to the increased usage of system memory on any application used today. For the power supply, it seemed obvious that the $50 EVGA 600B1 is more than enough to fuel the system. With improved energy efficiency from the Ryzen CPU and the RX 480, this system will only use about 350 watts of power, leaving additional headroom for more power-hungry components in future upgrades. To house everything, the NZXT S340 gives this build the true definition of building a PC. One thing that shines out is that the colors red and black well represent the AMD branding, and it goes really well with the newly released Ryzen processor and the RX 480 being used in the system. On the side, there is a visible window which will allow anyone to view the inside of their PC and can be held with the visible LED strip installed on the side. It also supports ITX, Micro ATX, and ATX class motherboards, as well as a 240mm cooling radiator. Last but not least, you can install up to 2 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch storage drives into the bay area with your USB audio and power interfaces on the top of the case. Adding all the parts together, we come to a grand total of around $900 and not only will this build be good for gaming, but at the same time it will also be good for 3D rendering and creative production. So if you guys are really interested in building this PC, I have all the links in the description, and if you guys happen to build this PC sometime in the future, be sure to hit me up in the comments below, and maybe I can mention you guys in the future video. So that's gonna wrap this build video, guys, and I hope you find this information helpful to you. If it did, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment if you have any, and I will see you guys in the next one.